contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last two Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton's actually the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
The leftover language would be the million shy of what Jefferson makes Jefferson a better player. If you want to believe that, I'm not sure I buy that he's that much better than CeeDee Lamb.
Tony Pollard's gone. He's now with the Titans. I was with the Titans a couple weeks ago. He'll be their starting running back there. They're going a different direction in Dallas, but it's all about CeeDee Lamb right now, the first of the other deals that they have to get done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on...
Make a couple of game time decisions on a Thursday night NFL kickoff. We are here, Chiefs, Ravens in Kansas City, and you know SportsGrid has you covered. I'm Kevin Walsh. We've got 1 hour until our pregame coverage begins in studio with Casey Hudson, and a group will be stopping by, helping breaking that game down, and your in-game coverage will be handled by myself, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi, all 4 quarters. Last year was a taste. We did the first quarter. We got out of here. We had to go. We're here all year long, all game long, Thursdays and Mondays, and I cannot wait. My man Donnie Rightside will stop by here on Game Time Decisions. We'll talk some pick sport tonight, and we will also get some futures on the board. Our show tonight will begin with the game between Kansas City and Baltimore, but I will also give you all of my futures for the NFL season, where once again, the most unbiased man in the history of sports media will give you a completely unbiased, full of analysis, and excellent Super Bowl pick. Last year was the Buffalo Bills. Who will it be this year? We'll let you know in about 20 minutes or so, along with some division winners, season-long props, awards. We are in the mix. Absolutely cannot wait to let it all rip. But let's start here in Arrowhead. The Chiefs are a field goal favorite tonight against the Baltimore Ravens. Total has been dropping. This number was 46, is 46.5 now. We saw 47.5, even 48, as people have obviously been betting this game for a very long time, knowing it would be the top one on the docket. Last year, the Ravens were arguably the best defense in the league. By DVOA, they were. But Mike McDonald, their superstar defensive coordinator, is now the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Potentially a drop-off could be coming there. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, whose defense surprised last season, they lose a key piece in Snead, which certainly could change the dynamic of that secondary now. Perhaps McDuffie, without a little bit of help there, is going to have too much on his plate. Is that going to be something the Ravens can take advantage of? Time will tell. I'll tell you now. We'll go through the card throughout this breakdown. I am on Kansas City tonight. at 2.5 minus 120. I am absolutely fine to move that juice down or move it up a little bit more and get under the field goal here. In some respects, I think if the Chiefs were 4.5 point favorites, it would be fine. But you would get so many Ravens bets due to Lamar numbers as an underdog. He is unbelievable covering spreads in his career as a dog of a field goal or better, that this is where the number had to be. I know it's somewhat rare when people want to bet against Mahomes, but that is what's happening. People are taking this field goal with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm happy to take this 2.5 point spread with the Chiefs. I am higher on Kansas City comfortably this year compared to the Ravens. So let's just take a step back. Let's look at some season outlook here. Where are the futures for these two teams that played in the conference championship game last season? Well, they're the top two choices in the AFC. The Kansas City Chiefs are the top choice overall, the Super Bowl favorites as they try and make history. A third consecutive Super Bowl. It's never been done before. The Chiefs are favored to do just that. They are also huge favorites to win the AFC West at minus 270. They are the biggest divisional favorite in the NFL this year, nearly minus 500 to make the postseason. This team also booked right now with an 11.5 win total. If you made me bet it, I'd look towards the over. If you are playing the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl this year, I don't hate it. I think the defense will take a step back. I think the offense will take a step forward. I do feel a little bit like Travis Kelce is regressing at minimum in the regular season, but this team getting a sophomore breakout from Rashee Rice is on the board. First-round rookie, of course, Xavier Worthy. And at some point, Hollywood Brown will join the fold as well. And I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be locked in. I think he wants to put up big, gaudy numbers this season. Mahomes was not in the MVP race at all last year, and rightfully so. He didn't have the performances to back it up. I think Pat, as the MVP favorite, makes a ton of sense. You want a longer shot sizzle? 55-1 Mahomes, Offensive Player of the Year. He's the last quarterback to win that award. If he puts up another 45 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, he's going to be in that range. Now, for the Baltimore Ravens, I worry about this team. I think the Ravens can miss the playoffs, quite frankly, here. You see they're minus 245 to make. You're getting just underneath 2-1 for this team to miss. I don't love how the schedule broke for this team. Specifically, the fact that they play 13 consecutive games before they hit their bye feels like a nightmare for a team that lost a lot of offensive line talent and has a mobile quarterback in Lamar Jackson who we've seen get injured before. We know how much they win when Lamar is in the mix, but what if they do miss Lamar Jackson for 4 or 5 games this season? The nature of the AFC North could make that an insurmountable deficit for this team to overcome. I am not in on any of their futures, plus 550 to win the conference, 11-1 to win the Super Bowl. The Ravens are a pass for me this season. I'm actually betting an AFC North division winner this year. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's compare these quarterbacks here on tonight's game. That's, again, Patrick Mahomes. It's Lamar Jackson. And Patrick Mahomes here, 266.5 is that yardage number tonight. And that's something I'm keying in on, but I'm keying on a hot start for Patrick Mahomes. 60-plus passing yards in the first quarter is plus 102. The straight number's 56.5 minus 110. I think you can ladder this. You're getting 75-plus at 2-1. You're getting 90-plus at 4-1 for Mahomes to come out and attack early. Last year, Mahomes averaged a little bit under 55 yards per game in the first quarter passing-wise. That was by far the worst of his career. You go back and look at the 4 years prior. You're talking about 74 plus and then 85, 83, consistently smashing through that number. I am a believer in the narrative that Mahomes is going to want to have a big statistical season. I think he comes out firing in the first quarter. We saw Mahomes throw the football a lot in the preseason. One of the few, star quarterbacks we have a preseason sample size of. There was a preseason game against the Lions. He had 2 drives. He had 90 yards between 2 drives. It's important they would start with the football. In terms of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, to give you multiple drives there, you're going to need it, but I think we get it. I like Mahomes for 60-plus yards. Let's take a look at these wide receivers here for both of these teams. For Baltimore, they're hoping Rashad Bateman can break through, but all eyes will be on Zay Flowers, who had a fascinating postseason run, a number of mistakes in the AFC Championship game, and I think there's a lot of people wondering, can Zay Flowers step up and answer the bell tonight here? Mark Andrews back, fully healthy. How much Isaiah Likely do we see is something I'm wondering. If he could be a buy low, the tight end out of Coastal Carolina, who really flashed in Mark Andrews' absence. On the Kansas City side, we know Rashee Rice, we know Travis Kelce. What about Xavier Worthy out of Texas, first-round rookie? I'm on Xavier Worthy's anytime touchdown score in this game. I do believe we will see multiple deep shots to Worthy. I also think he's live in the goal line. I know he was not a touchdown machine while he was at Texas, but Andy Reid loves using this speed in so many different ways. I had to take Worthy at plus 180s anytime touchdown score on tonight's board. You see a Derrick Henry pick there. Let's eye up these running backs because Derrick Henry is now a Baltimore Raven. It's Isaiah Pacheco on the other side who's really locked himself into this starting role with KC. He's been great, but it's Henry who is looking to add a boost to this Ravens offense. A Ravens offense that forgot to run the ball. Last year in this AFC Championship game, people are smashing Henry props, and it's understandable. The Henry prop for me is over 14.5 yards at minus 105 for his longest run. This is a number that Derrick Henry, I think, will have no issue getting over. I think he has multiple runs of 15-plus yards, wide open lanes with eyes on Lamar Jackson. That's tonight's game. What about the future? It's crystal ball time. We'll talk next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Let's make it happen. We're still right here where you need us. Doing a little Game Time Decisions. Super Bowl pick? Not yet. We'll get there. I do have a conference bet, though, in the AFC. Let's get eyes on the AFC outright market. A lot of contenders here. I'm sure people are all up and down this board on these top 10 teams, and I can give you some thoughts on all of them. We've talked a little bit of Kansas City and Baltimore. They are your top two choices. It's incredible that KC plays 2 and 3 to open this season in good schedule spots as well. It's one of the reasons, again, I do not mind if you just go chalk Chiefs. Mahomes has never not been in the AFC title game. It is absolutely understandable. Now, the Houston Texans are a team that last year, for those that were with us on our future show, bet to win the AFC South, and it all worked out. And I think they can absolutely keep rising, but so do the books. At 8-1, I can't get there. Here we have our pocket of AFC East teams. I'm not in on the Cleveland Browns. They were an AFC outright bet for me last year. Out on this team. I worry about natural defensive regression, and Watson feels washed. He really does. They're obviously tied to that contract. It just doesn't work out. I'm in on the Chargers this year in some markets, not outright. I think this team has a high floor, but not a high end for guys. They might actually still be divisional favorites, which they were last year. Now, I skipped over that AFC East pocket. I think people are going to look to make cases on all three teams. Last year, I was on Buffalo. Not this year. Can't get there. I really do think Josh Allen is out there weaponless. I think it's a really tough spot. And I'll tell you right now, if Josh Allen ends up getting banged up, that's one of the 5 worst football teams in the league. I cannot get there on the Buffalo Bills. The Jets, I understand as well, but I want the Miami Dolphins, and I'm betting them at 11-1. To win the AFC. I prefer the conference bet to the Super Bowl bet because I do think there's a world where you want to hedge inside the conference because of how they could line up with some of these other top teams. But I think this team has a high ceiling, as high as any in the sport. You know how good that offense is. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle make up one of the dangerous wide receiver duos in all of football. Mike McDaniel is an offensive genius, and I know people will say that Tua can't win a Super Bowl. Well, we've said that about Jared Goff a bunch, and last year he was this close to going to his second Super Bowl. Tua can get there with all of the pieces around him, and this defense has a high ceiling. I believe in that. I'm still a believer in a Jalen Ramsey. I think Chop Robinson at Penn State can pop. They have Jalen Phillips coming back, and eventually they'll get Bradley Chubb back as well. I really believe that the Dolphins can hit this type of ceiling, and if they end up with the 1 seed and it goes through South Beach, they're going to be in a great spot. And one of the biggest reasons I'm in on the Miami Dolphins is I think Devon Achane could very well be the offensive player of the year, and at 60-1, I couldn't even consider passing up on this. Like, for fantasy players, I was drafting Devon Achane all of last night. 11 games last year, 800 rushing yards, nearly 8 yards a carry, and 8 touchdowns. While Raheem Mostert, in front of him, put up a 1,000-yard season and a league-leading 18 touchdowns. Achane's the star in this backfield. If he stays healthy and gets the appropriate amount of touches, you could be looking at a guy, total workload, 20 touchdowns, 2,000 yards between passing and rushing. I'm serious. 60-1, it's a must play. Guys who win Offensive Player of the Year put up unbelievable statistical seasons. Achane is in range to make that happen. The other award bet I made was Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's on the favorite at plus 135. Give me Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams. I think he should be much shorter than this. I really do. A big part of that is I'm in on the Bears, and I'm out on all of these other top rookies teams. I really am. The Bears do have an incredible situation for Caleb and a schedule that really gives them a shot at making the playoffs. This team is minus money to make the playoffs. If Caleb is in the playoffs, he's winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's not like the statistics will hurt throwing the football to Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and, of course, Rome Odunze. I think the Commanders are going to be bad. They didn't give Jaden Daniels a lot of weapons. It's just Terry McLaurin. I think the Denver Broncos could surprise. We'll talk Knicks in just a second. But surprise over a 5.5 win total. Not make a postseason push. The Cardinals should be bad with Marvin Harrison, and the Giants should be bad with Malik Neighbors. I just cannot get to any of these other teams, and I'm in on the Bears. We know how special Caleb Williams is. At plus 135, I had to make it happen. But I mentioned being in on Bo Nix. I bet 1 season-long player prop this year. Had to narrow it down. Wanted to find a favorite. It's Denver Broncos quarterback Bo Nix, over 315.5 passing yards. Are you kidding me? This kid is not getting benched. Unless Sean Payton wants to lose his job in the middle of the season, that would be nuts. You have a full 17-game workload here, health providing. And this is a number that Russell Wilson went over last year while being terrible and getting benched. This number here for Bo Nix, he should absolutely cruise through. I've seen projections put Bo Nix at 3,800 yards because that is the normal range for an NFL starting quarterback. And I will also tell you right now on Bo Nix at 4,000 yards at plus 800, it's worth it because now you have Sean Payton with his guy. When was the last time we saw Sean Payton with his guy? Well, that was, of course, with Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. And Drew Brees was breaking record year after year for pass attempts and passing yards. I'm not telling you Bo Nix is Drew Brees. I'm telling you he could throw the football a lot this season and not just get us over 315.5 yards, but get us to 4,000 at plus 800. You see some of the action here that we have for tonight's game, but we are going to hit a break. We're going to come back. 2 divisional bets, 3 divisional bets, and my Super Bowl winner for this year. Most unbiased man in the history of sports media. Who could it be? Only time will tell. We'll be back right here on Game Time Decisions.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
All right, we're back to right here. It's Game Time Decisions. Let's finish out this futures card. We'll get Donnie Rightside here in just a moment, go through some of his picks for not just the futures market, but, of course, Thursday night football between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. We'll start with the divisional wagers. There are 2 outrights and then a AFC West bit of action, which we'll handle right now. It's minus 125. It's on the Chiefs and the Chargers to be the top 2 seeds in the AFC West. This is maybe my favorite bet of the bunch. I'm in on both of these teams. Kansas City, no surprise. There are a lot of people selling the Chargers this year. They lost a lot of talent in the wide receiver room, really on the offense as a whole. But they bring in the perfect coaching staff to make that work. Harbaugh wants to run the ball. Greg Roman wants to run the ball. And they have a really strong offensive line. Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, they're not world beaters. But again, it's the running back position. They'll do just fine. And all of a sudden now the Chargers' offense's selling point isn't, hey, Justin Herbert's supposed to be special. It's kind of an add-on. It's something that they can use to break glass in case of emergency there. Plus, I think the defense has a chance to be very good as Harbaugh continues to bring from the Michigan ranks to the National Football League. I'm in on the Chargers. Of course, in on the Chiefs. I don't think Denver has that type of ceiling, and I'm well out on the Vegas Raiders. I think that team's under 6.5 wins. I don't think Gardner Minshew's the guy. I certainly don't think Aiden O'Connell's the guy. I don't mind that Antonio Pierce hire. I just don't think it works out here. Chargers have the schedule to make this work. The top two finishes the Chiefs and the Chargers in the AFC West at minus 125. At plus 165, I'm betting the Cincinnati Bengals to win the AFC North. We know every year we get a team to go from worst to first. Sometimes the obvious answer is the correct answer. Cincinnati ended up finishing in last place in the AFC North last year. I believe they will finish in first place this year. If you look at what surrounds Cincinnati, it's a Browns team I'm way out on, and a Pittsburgh Steelers team whose offense I do not think can hang and get them to this level. I'd actually be more interested in betting Pittsburgh at their price than Baltimore, though. I've said it from the beginning. I think the Ravens' schedule is difficult. This is where you see the difference between a first place and a last place schedule. Cincinnati this season goes up against the Titans and the Patriots. On the other end of it, the Baltimore Ravens have to play the Buffalo Bills, and they have to go play the Houston Texans. That alone can be the difference in this division. I really believe the Cincinnati Bengals at plus 165 should be the favorite. There's a huge schedule gap. Joe Burrow is back with hopefully Jamar Chase and certainly T. Higgins, and I think they win this division here at plus 165. The long shot is in the NFC South. It's on the New Orleans Saints, plus 490. I had a feeling this was coming as I dived into the research. It only confirmed it. The Saints at plus 490 is just a crazy number. I think their projections should be projected around that same range as the Atlanta Falcons. Certainly, if 2-1 was the Saints' number, I think it would make a lot more sense than plus 490. They were the favorites to win this division last year. What changed? They were underwhelming last year. Okay, we've overreacted too far. I don't think the offensive line is as bad as everybody else. I think Chris Olave can still be one of the 15 or so best wide receivers in this league. I think Alvin Kamara can still be one of the better guys who's looking out there for a contract. And can Derek Carr be the best quarterback in this division? I mean, he could be. I think we've hyped up Kirk Cousins way too much. I think Baker's still the best quarterback in this division, but it could be Derek Carr on a given year. The big thing for me is I am super in on the New Orleans Saints defense this year. The veterans in DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan, and Honey Badger and Tyrann Mathieu are still there. I think Brian Breesy and Chase Young can have big seasons in New Orleans as well. Marshawn Lattimore at the quarterback position. They've drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry. I am so in on this Saints defense that at plus 490, I had to bet him to win the NFC North. What about that Super Bowl champion? Most unbiased man in the history of sports media. I tell you all the time. Many people don't believe me. Well, the non-believers, here's a little ammunition for you. I'm betting the Philadelphia Eagles at 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. I think this is the best team in the league. I believe in this team at every level. There's a lot of worry about Jason Kelce leaving, where the offensive line is going to be. All right, so it's not the best in the league. It's still top 6, top 7. People are talking about how A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts, they all fell off last year. That's called bounce back. That's called value. That's called 14-1 being a great number. Saquon Barkley is a monster addition. He can be CMC level transformative, and the selling point is the defense. High-level corners, as rookies, can contribute day one. The Eagles have two guys that could possibly do that in Quinyon Mitchell, who went in the first round, and Cooper DeJean, who should have went in the first round, and the Eagles grabbed in the second. Bradbury, Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay. This team has the juice. They have the goods, and they have my action at 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. We'll get Donnie Right-Side's thoughts next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Live right here, it is Game Time Decisions with you on a Thursday night. Kevin Walsh, I do think the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Say what you will, but I believe in that football team. There are a few teams that I considered. I've mentioned, if you are betting that Chiefs three-peat, I don't blame you at all. If you're chasing the ceiling of the Houston Texans, I get it. I'm betting the Dolphins to win the AFC as opposed to betting them to win the Super Bowl, but I certainly see the vision there. I think I'd rather bet the Lions than the Niners. I worry a little bit about San Francisco this year. I think they're so overly reliant on Trent Williams. The offensive line is pretty bad outside of Trent Williams. He's just probably the best offensive lineman in all of football. CMC already banged up a little bit. Brandon Ayuk wasn't around. Spoiler, I'll probably be on the Jets when we're back here doing Monday Night Football with the crew. The Rams, who I know Joe Lisi's in on, I can see the vision on the Rams. I think Seattle could also sneaky win that division. I couldn't find a bet on the Niners not to win the West, which I would have been interested in a little bit there. But the Rams have a higher ceiling than Seattle ultimately. Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, greater than sign. Mike McDonald, who I still like, but still, and Geno Smith. And that's probably the difference maker there. But let's bring in Donnie Rightside, who, of course, will be with me and Joe Lisi all year long on PFT. Donnie, we're talking some futures, and I know this morning on the early line you were going over the Super Bowl market. How are you feeling lining things up before we kick off?
I got to tell you, feeling a little chalky at this point, and it's okay. You can still make money doing that. But look at the top two teams to win the Super Bowl, giving any sports book at this time, the 49ers plus 550 price, Kansas City plus 550 price. I look for both of those guys probably to be in the Super Bowl as a possibility, but they are long shots out there, K-Dub. Those Houston Texans, be leery of them, man.
You know, the Texans need a couple of things to break right on the defensive side of the football, Don, to hit that top ceiling. Can Will Anderson be Defensive Player of the Year good in his sophomore season? Still kind of feel like he stole the Defensive Rookie of the Year somehow last year out of Jalen Carter, but he was deserving in his own right. Will Anderson. But it is about C.J. Stroud. You know, one thing I didn't place on the show, but I was considering, it's a 16-1 on Tank Dell to lead the Texans, or actually to lead the AFC South in receiving yards. I know that, listen, we'll be live Sunday. We'll be going through props. Do you have a read on that Texans wide receiver room with Diggs, Collins, and Dell?
I really like it a lot, but if we're being honest, I'm really interested to see what we get out of Stephon Diggs at this point. The reason I ask that is he's coming over from Buffalo as the lead dog. He's not the lead dog anymore for the Houston Texans, so I want to see how he acclimates in there. If we're being honest, I think he's going to be fine because I think C.J. Stroud handles a lot of those issues by saying, look, if you're barking a little bit, trust me, I can get you the football anywhere you need it on the field, so I'm trusting that. But I look at it as saying, watching C.J. Stroud from last year into the preseason, I know, Kevin, it's only 3 games, we barely saw him. He looks good.
Yeah.
That offense looks ready to go, and there's no reason to believe that they can't make a run. Let me ask you this question, too. Keep it in the AFC. The Buffalo Bills, 12-1 price, focused as if they can win a championship, and quite frankly, they have the quarterback that can be an MVP. Are we underpricing the Buffalo Bills? Are we disrespecting them? Because for me, the last couple of years, what did we like about the Bills? They were the team I thought could be able to get over the top. Now they don't have that, oh, no, they're the favorites here. Do they have the chip on their shoulder this year?
They can have all the chips they want. Yeah. I bet them last year under that MO.
Yeah.
I think they missed the playoffs this year. I think they were asking Josh Allen to do way too much, Donnie. I mean, but Donnie, the narratives last year around the Buffalo Bills were they need another wide receiver to go along with Diggs to give Allen a chance. Diggs and the number 2 wide receiver are gone. Mm-hmm. I know everybody likes Keon Coleman, but Keon Coleman had 2 100-yard games last year at FSU.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman can be good in this league. Yep. He's not a number 1 wide receiver day number 1. Otherwise, he would have gone in the first round. He's not Malik Neighbors. He's not Marvin Harrison Jr. So I just think we need to be realistic about expectations there. It's not like the offensive line's world beaters. And I don't think the defense is good. And, Donnie, it's a brutal schedule. Yeah. The problem that Buffalo has, and I know it's the same for the Jets and the Dolphins, but the AFC East is very good. I know everybody thinks the Pats will just be, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. But that's fine if you end up having to battle with the Dolphins and the Jets throughout this season, and the Bills are playing that first-place schedule. So you have to play Kansas City. You have to play Baltimore. You have to play Houston. Yeah. I don't think the Bills get there. I really don't.
You know what's interesting about that, too, because the odd part is, and you can still find it on some books depending on where you're shopping, who the actual favorite is to win the AFC East. The reason I bring that up is you saw the Buffalo Bills for most of the preseason and offseason as the top dog in that conference division. Now you're seeing the New York Jets at some outlets now being the favorites, and I got to tell you, I'm starting to buy in on that. The only question for me is, how much do you want to buy in on the Jets at this point? Because if Aaron Rodgers plays Aaron Rodgers football, Kevin, I don't need him to be the MVP anymore. He's top 10, let's just say, in the NFL, is capable. If you had top 10 quarterback playing the Jets, where have they been last year? So I'm starting to get higher and higher on the Jets, and I know we're going to be here sitting in our seats on Monday Night Football, and you're going to have a referendum on that game going like, the Jets are really good, or, man, I told you so. How could you believe in the Jets? They can't beat the 49ers, and away you go into the season.
So with the Jets, I think it's the best defense in this league.
Yeah.
They're so – my God, though, if Hassan Reddick could show up, would that be a nice boost for this team? I mean, they need to figure out what's going on.
Said he could still show up Monday night. I mean, can you guys get off the couch and play? Pass rush, couple downs?
But, I mean, if they get Hassan Reddick, I mean, that just goes up a whole nother level.
Yeah.
My thing with Rodgers, and you're right, they don't need him to be an MVP level. But I also think it's important that people stop suggesting he could be at an MVP level. The last time we saw him play that final year in Green Bay was the worst year of his career. And again, that's still a high bar. It would be incredible quarterback play for the Jets, but he is not, to me, someone, Donnie, that could be a top 5 quarterback in this league anymore. I think when we line him up, him and Tua, I view somewhat similarly. I think they've got good situations. I think the numbers can be very good. I don't think they're necessarily game changers like Josh Allen, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts even, for me. And that's something that I think can kind of pull them back a little bit there. I'm surprised by the Jets' numbers.
What are you worried about on the Jets, though? Because for me, if I take a look at it, I love that defense. I think it's sensational.
Yep.
When I look at the skill position, they've upgraded this year. Garrett Wilson's another year older. Mike Williams comes over from the Chargers. Breece Hall another year outside of that injury. I think they have the capabilities to be huge, but Monday night you're going to know right away. What was the issue last year? The offensive line.
Yeah.
You saw it come through, and it was like, hey, it's a freak injury. He was under siege and ended up blowing out his Achilles. Yep. It's a shame it happened. He's getting older, but now you step in again. They made a lot of moves there. Are we trusting the offensive line? Because if it's good, that's a game changer for them.
I think the Jets, this is going to sound ridiculous after what I just said, the Jets could be the best team in the league.
They could be.
They could because they bring in Tyron Smith, they bring in Morgan Moses, and they draft Olu Fashanu in the first round. All of a sudden now the offensive line can go from a disaster. A strength could be strong, but above average in this league.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Breece Hall. We know what Garrett Wilson's potential could be. Mike Williams, Rodgers can still elevate guys. We both are in on the defense.
Yeah.
I just like, sometimes, Donnie, for me, you know how I am, it's prices.
The Jets are the favorites. The Dolphins are I can't believe the Jets are the favorites.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not betting the Jets as the favorites. I'm not when I can get the Dolphins at 11-1 to win the conference. That for me, that gap is what it came down to because I think the Dolphins can hit that gap. You always worry. Let me ask you quickly.
Yeah.
You always worry about Tua at the end.
I do.
But he was fine last year.
He was.
Do you still worry about them?
I don't.
Okay.
Because it's got to be recency bias in the NFL. You can't. Hey, he never got injured in 5 years. Sooner or later, you're going to get injured, and hopefully the concussions don't come back. But let me ask you this. I was actually really high on the Jets team total at 9.5. Like last year, if you, again, had competent quarterback play, you would have won 9-10 games last year and been in that book. They're 9.5. I like them to the over this year. And if they do win 10 games, they're right in that boat to win the AFC East.
So I before mentioned I'm on a Chiefs-Chargers to be the top two seeds in the AFC West. I thought about a similar bet for the Dolphins and the Jets. Since I'm lower on Buffalo, I think that's a nice plus money wager that you could find. It's a little tricky because at that point, maybe you're just trying to exact order it. We know the Patriots are finishing. My God, the Patriots are so bad.
They are bad.
In that division. So there's a couple of ways that you can try and move some things around. We're going to get to tonight's game, though. You know, when you're talking AFC, the starting point is always Kansas City. The Ravens are that second choice behind them. And also, we'll try and run through the NFC in the same way that we just did with the AFC. The Eagles, the Niners, and the Lions are at the top. Is anybody trying to do that? You mentioned the buy low Buffalo Bills. Anybody want to buy low on the Dallas Cowboys? Because the books have all of a sudden dropped that team back. Packers love. Rams deep shots. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Myself, Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and we're back with you right here in just a couple of minutes. Keep it locked on SportsGrid. Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Back right here, Game Time Decisions, live on a Thursday night. The Thursday Nighter is between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens, man. As long as you can't hear it, that's fine. We'll battle through. Where are you at on this game tonight? Are you locked in yet? We're going to be live all night, all four quarters, so we're going to have time to fire live action. Where are you pregame?
Which is the great thing, but also we're looking from the game perspective for me.
Yeah, we don't hear Donnie. You got to ask yourself. You got to ask yourself if it's sabotage, Donnie. I mean, you know, we try and come hot out of the gates. Here's what it is. We asked Donnie to come on for one segment. I imagine he had his agent cut the cord. Not doing two. No way. not in the contract. So that's all right. Wanted to get some thoughts, though, from Donnie, where he is pregame Thursday night. Let me just run through my card again. Because we kind of hit it in some different spots. So I'll let people know where I'm at for the Thursday nighter here. I'm on the Chiefs at -2.5, -120. What home field advantage is worth in this league? It feels like it's an ever-changing thing. It's tough to know. Is it worth 2? Is it worth 2.5? It's worth something. And I think the Chiefs are better than the Baltimore Ravens. I think there's just a big enough gap on the offensive side to make that statement true. The Ravens' defense is better. The selling point for the Ravens in this game is not only having a better defense, but it's actually something that I'm using to bet against them to turn into a positive. I'm betting against this team losing Mike Macdonald and it dropping the defense down. Because I think Mike Macdonald's awesome as a defensive coordinator and, again, now the head coach for Seattle. The selling point would be new DC, harder to prepare for. Alex Orr was with this organization last year. The last time he was preparing for a game, it was against this Chiefs team. He can throw them some different, surprising looks. For me, even if that ends up true, I think Andy Reid can adjust. Andy Reid's the best coach in this league.
Keep this one.
Certainly from an offensive end of it all. So that's what I'm thinking here, and that's why I like the Chiefs at home -2.5 here. Going down to -120 for me is absolutely worth it. On the Chiefs side, I'm also betting Pat Mahomes for 60 first quarter passing yards at +102. Just to let people know, last year, his first quarter average was 53.4. The 4 years prior to that, 74.9, 73.9, 87.5, and 82.9. Again, last year was a down year for Pat Mahomes. I know everybody blames the entire thing on Kadarius Toney. I think it's a little ridiculous. Mahomes had a down year. He was still great and then won a damn Super Bowl. Regular season, he had a down year. He'll be looking to bounce back, which means an early hot start. I really like that Mahomes number. If you want a ladder, 75, 90 plus, it's all on the board. I'm also betting Xavier Worthy, anytime touchdown score at +180. We're going to talk a lot of boosts tonight. There's some of those no sweat tokens. I think that's really worth it. You could probably get a little bit better than +180, but I wanted to pair this with those no sweat. That way you can get some refunds if Worthy doesn't find that end zone, though I think he really will. I think that there's going to be 3 or 4 deep shots tonight to Worthy, and I think he could be a red zone gadget for this football team. You know, Tyreek Hill scored red zone touchdowns all the time back when he was in Kansas City. I know that's a lofty comparison, but this team's super excited about Worthy, and they got him in the first round, and he does have that type of speed, which is incredible. So at +180, I want to get involved with Worthy. On the Baltimore side, it's Derrick Henry over 14.5 rushing yards for his longest run. That number was at -105. The rushing lanes that Henry should get tonight should be the best of his life. Certainly the best in a while. The Titans' offensive line was horrendous last year. Derrick Henry still was over this number in more games than he wasn't as a starter for Tennessee. The way rushing lanes open when you have a mobile quarterback is massive. When you have Lamar Jackson, it's monstrous. So I love Derrick Henry here. 15.5 is his attempts number. He could very well end up with 20 rushes tonight. I'm all over Derrick Henry, longest rush. 14.5 at -105. DRS, are you back?
I'm feeling good. I mean, am I sounding good now? We live, we hot, as we like to say.
Sound great. Ran through my card here a little bit. We were trying to just get a little bit of thoughts on where you are heading into this game tonight.
Heading into this game, it's the Kansas City Chiefs for me. And obviously, if you're shopping around, depending on which sports book, it's huge, Kevin. 3 to 2.5, that could make all of the difference tonight. But the way I look at it, too, the Baltimore Ravens, and I've said this multiple shows this week, Kevin, I was so disheartened by that loss in the AFC Championship game because the pathway was there for Lamar Jackson to dispel every demon he had, win that AFC Championship game, go to the Super Bowl, and say, oh, no, it's the 49ers. Yeah, rewind a couple weeks ago when we hammered the 49ers out there in Santa Clara. I thought they were the team that was going to win the Super Bowl. So when I look tonight and I say to myself, how do we attack? How do we get after that defense for the Kansas City Chiefs? They still have a solid secondary. Even though Snead is gone, it's the running game. It's the 12 personnel, Kevin. It's the double tight end sets. It's Isaiah Likely. It's having a healthy tight end prospect, which you didn't have last year in Mark Andrews. We sat right in these chairs last year and watched Mark Andrews go down, and he came back hobbling, but it was obviously he wasn't that dominant tight end self. If we are looking at the wide receiver position, Zay Flowers can step up, but it's on Lamar Jackson tonight. I need 50-plus rushing yards out of him. I need 75-plus rushing yards out of Derrick Henry. Control the game from your side, because if you do that technically, Kevin, they are the better team. But what's going to keep the people away by saying this? I watched the AFC Championship game. Are we just smart enough to stick to the game plan? Because we weren't then.
Did you see the Lamar quote that came out today? I think
No.
it was a Washington Post article. He said how he felt today is how he felt in the AFC Championship game. If he felt as good today as they would have been able to run the ball more. His legs would have felt better. They wouldn't have had to throw it as much.
Yeah.
What the hell is he talking about? I think that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
What about him losing weight, though, K-Dub?
Yeah, that's good for him. But just stick with me here. Lamar didn't feel good, so they dropped him back 40 times instead of handing the ball off to his running backs?
Yeah.
You know what that sounds like? A team that didn't learn their lesson. I talk to you about this all the time because this is where an Eagle fandom comes in. The most annoying thing I've ever heard was the stupid New Orleans Saints, who were on the wrong end of that Minnesota Miracle, right?
Yes.
Convincing themselves they would have beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship game if it wasn't for the Minnesota Miracle, despite the fact that the Eagles destroyed the Vikings.
Correct.
And that Saints team hung their hat on it. Those fools lost to Kirk Cousins in a playoff game, which shouldn't even be possible.
Like the focus,
that's the vibe I'm getting out from Baltimore.
Yeah, the focus should be for Baltimore, business-like. All I need to hear you say, we let that one slip away in the AFC Championship game. We knew we were the better team. Let's go out and prove that tonight. But you're right. Didn't feel too good, make some of those mistakes. They were the best team in the AFC and the best team in the NFL. They came up short. Can they rectify that tonight? Maybe they can, and it'll go a long way to seeing who gets that AFC Championship game in their home building. But I need a big game out of Lamar. I need a big game out of him, Kevin.
Again, just to clarify, Lamar's comments are, I wasn't feeling great, so I threw the ball 37 times, ran it 8 times, and we gave it to our running back 8 times. I like the Chiefs even more. We'll be right back here. We're live on SportsGrid. Game Time Decision. Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Game Time Decisions. We're right here. We're very serious. We're very locked in. I cannot wait. By the way, I mean, Lisi arrival time, and what's the story with this guy?
Do we even need him? Is the question at this point. See that? Let that get up to the measurement.
Speeding. He'll be like, oh, they're trying to ice me out. We've gone through tonight's game again. We are live tonight.
Casey Hudson has you covered. Adam Kaufman stopping by. It's going to be a great pregame show. Everything that you need for tonight's game, you keep it right here on Sports Grid. But, Donnie, let's steal a couple of extra minutes here to talk some NFC. Kind of ran through a lot of those AFC contenders. At the top, it's the Niners, it's the Lions, it's the Eagles. Do you like one of those teams amongst the rest?
To be honest, it probably is, again, chalky with the Niners. Pound for pound, I've been saying it for months. They're the best team in the NFC. What were we waiting for? Anybody with a brain knew that Trent Williams was going to show up for opening day. They were going to pay the guy.
He said he came back because Pearsall got shot. I hate to laugh.
I mean, come on. Did he really say that?
Yes. He's like, it inspired him to come back. The comments today from these NFL players
they're
are pretty
questionable
good.
best. Looks like we're about to be fading a lot of football teams here week one, if that's where the mindset is at this point. But I do like the 49ers. I think they're in a pretty good spot and also think they have a division that they should be able to handle. But if we are looking at the Detroit Lions, what's the thing that we love about them, Kevin? The offensive line is sensational. The quarterback fits into that scheme here. You kept your offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, for another season. The wide receiving core, an exciting backfield. But the question marks come up on that defense. They're going to be able to go up and down the field, Kevin. But you know what? Other teams are going to be able to go up and down the field on them, and that matters once you get to the playoffs. And it's kind of funny we say this. Are the Eagles really the wild card here of the NFC? I feel like you're going to turn the game on tomorrow night. And if it ends, let's just say, 31-14 Eagles, you're going, that's a Super Bowl contender. But if they lose by any stretch, well, they didn't fix their defense. Their linebackers are a problem. You signed Devin White. He didn't make it to the starting gate. And the Kobe Dean is a bust. They still can't stop anybody. There's busts in the secondary. It's so crazy to look at them for week number one. But if they do win, I don't even care, Kevin, if they win by 3 points. You now put them as a contender because I think the Packers are a very formidable contender here to win the NFC.
So my thing with Green Bay, I didn't love the schedule. I don't like the defense. There are some people who are high on the defense just because they got rid of Joe Barry. I get it makes them better. They were also bottom 6 last year in football, so I think they needed more than just changing of coordinators. I couldn't get to Green Bay. I think Detroit's funny. And here's my thing with Detroit. They can be incredible. People are so confidently picking a Jared Goff team to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And yet I know people will tell me when I tell them I'm betting the Dolphins to win the AFC, like, oh, you're betting on Tua. I'd be like, and?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Tua and Jared Goff, is it really that far off? They're elevated by what's around them. I don't think the Niners should be plus 260. Trent Williams, not at camp. Ayuk, not at camp. McCaffrey, already banged up. I think Kittle was questionable. Debo always has something wrong. Ricky Pearsall was injured before the I mean, listen, wish him the best. He'll be back at some point. But Pearsall was already kind of dealing with some injuries. They're injured. We know that Super Bowl hangovers can be a thing, and I think both the Rams and the Seahawks are dangerous. Like if you wanted me to give you a longer shot, I'd be interested in either LA or Seattle. I think both teams could hit enough of a ceiling to actually steal the division off San Fran.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually, because we look at the long price points, right? And just go to FanDuel, 35-1 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win it all. And I say this all the time. Do I think Tampa Bay can actually win it? No, I don't. But they can win their division, which means that 35-1 ticket to win the NFC would be so live when it gets there. I think they're a little bit under the radar. But the one team that I guess you can say if you're an NFC fan, which we like the Eagles, thank goodness the Dallas Cowboys weren't technically all in the offseason. Because if they would have signed Dak Prescott, lowered his number, and also took care of CeeDee Lamb, lowered his number, and signed 2 or 3 more players on that team, we'd be looking at the Dallas Cowboys much differently than we do today. Still, they could win the NFC East. They could win the NFC, but the past tells you they won't. But I'm just happy as a fan of another team that the Dallas Cowboys actually weren't all in the offseason.
I just think if you want to bet Dallas, bet Dak to win MVP, CeeDee Offensive Player of the Year, best record, all win totals.
Yeah.
If this team is 13-4 and the number 1 seed, when they play that first game in Dallas, are you going to be confident that they get the job done? You won't be. You won't be. We saw it last year. We saw it last year. If I ask you today, and your Super Bowl prediction would be what?
Chalky. I think San Francisco is the best team in the NFC, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, are the front runners in the AFC. It's chalky, but it's just true.
Do you think the Niners would get him if it is a rematch?
Yes, I would bet the Niners again in that. Because, hey, they're going to learn their lesson, only to realize they didn't ever learn their lesson.
Yeah, I would also stupidly bet the Niners.
How's McCaffrey fumbling the football? I mean, come on. Early in the game, get the fumble. He scores a touchdown there. It's a different game. Let's relive it. Let's relive it.
Again, Shanahan is a lock to get a double-digit lead in the Super Bowl and then lose the double-digit lead. If you ask me today, Eagles over Dolphins, on the Eagles,
14-1. If you needed 3 teams from each conference, it would be Eagles, Lions, Rams, and then it would be Dolphins, Chiefs, Texans. I think those are all really, really awesome teams. We're going to throw it over to the pregame show with Casey Hudson. We'll see you when game kicks off.